Question: what if you had a TV box that runs on Android 9 Pie operating system on an Intel CPU and GPU, with insane benchmarks and performance that leaves other TV boxes in the dust? What if you can also run Windows 10 operating system and enjoy all the features of a full-fledged computer in a single device that comes with a cooling fan, massive expandable storage, and more ports than you can imagine? Presenting the Minisforum U300 Intel Windows 10 Mini PC. Up next, I will demonstrate the many features of this device and how you can apply Android 9 Pie operating system and use it as a high-end super TV box to stream movies, play 4K videos, and play Android games at the highest quality. So stay tuned, you have more after this. Welcome back. My name is Nick, and I'll start today's review with a look at the box that it's shipped in. Minisforum products usually comes in strong durable boxes that are professionally well labeled, and it ensures that your product is safe during shipping. Under product specification, it shows that the U300 runs on the Intel Celeron 3867U processor, running up to 1.8 GHz. The GPU is the Intel HD Graphics 610. It comes with 8 GB of RAM and 128 GB of internal storage. It has support for up to 2 TB SSD via an internal storage expansion bay, and support for up to 512 GB via an M2 port. It has Ethernet LAN speeds of up to 1000 megabits per second, and dual-band 2.4 plus 5 GHz Wi-Fi. So without further ado, I will unpack its contents and continue. So these are all the things you get in the box. You have the U300 itself. You get a pair of HDMI cables, a short and a longer one. To power the device you get a 19 volts 1.9 amps power adapter. You have a SATA cable for connecting to the expansion bay. A bracket for mounting to the back of a TV if you so choose. A pack of spare rubber legs for the base of the device. And the last item here is a user's manual. Let's look at its design and its input-output peripherals. The entire body is made of plastic, with a glossy surface, and the Minisforum logo printed to the top. To the back, you have 2 HDMI ports for dual monitor display, 2 USB 3.0 ports, 1 Ethernet LAN port at 1000 megabits per second, a vent for the internal CPU fan, and a DC power input. To the edge there's a little wedge for opening the top cover to access inside the PC. To the front, you have 2 more USB 3.0 ports, 1 USB Type-C port, a headphone jack, a microphone hole, and a power LED button. To one side, you have a microSD card slot. And there's nothing on the other side. To the bottom, you have your rubber legs and an intake vent for the CPU fan. So I will now connect it to my 4K TV that I will be using as a monitor for this review. So the first boot up of the U300 displays the Minisforum logo animation followed by a standard Windows 10 startup wizard. Once you have completed the wizard, you are taken to the Windows 10 desktop screen. The first order of business is to check to see if Windows is activated under System Information in the Control Panel area. Below here it shows that Windows is activated, and you also have some system information that shows that the CPU is running at 1.8 GHz and you have a total of 8 GB of RAM. I will show more on this in a minute. And now a look at its system and hardware information. The computer is a 64-bit based PC, running on Windows 10 Professional operating system, and it comes pre-installed with DirectX 12. The CPU is a dual-core Intel Kaby Lake processor running up to 1.8 GHz. The motherboard is the Best StarTech KB1B, and it comes with 8 GB of onboard LPDDR3 SDRAM. The GPU is the tri-core Intel HD Graphics 610 processor with a base speed of 300 and a boost speed of 950 MHz. The audio adapter is the Intel Kaby Lake HDMI Sunrise Point for HDMI audio, and the Realtek ALC256 for audio via the headphone jack. The internal storage disk drive is a Hood Disk M2 128GB SSD, and this is the remainder after the Windows installation. The network adapter is the Intel dual-band wireless AC3165, and you have Bluetooth 4.2 support. That's it for system and hardware information, and I now show its benchmarks. First I show its RAM and storage read and write speeds. The U300 has a RAM copy speed of 8,819 megabytes per second. The system disk storage has a read speed of 427 megabytes per second, and a write speed of 456. These scores are high scores, they are twice as high than what you would normally get on an Android TV box. Next, I have the results of the Wi-Fi and Ethernet LAN speeds. The results show that on the 5 GHz Wi-Fi band and on the Ethernet LAN port, I was able to hit the maximum speed of my internet package of 60 megabytes. However, the 2.4 GHz Wi-Fi band fell slightly below, averaging around 50 megabytes. And now the results of the Geekbench 4 CPU benchmark. The results show that the U300 got a score of 2068 single-core, and 3352 multi-core. Again, the score here is twice as high than your average TV box. The final score is the Ice Storm Extreme and the CloudGate GPU graphics benchmark. The U300 mini PC scored 14,462 in the Ice Storm Extreme, and 2,904 in the CloudGate test. There is no regular TV box yet on the market that can match these scores. And that's the end of the benchmarks. I didn't have any Antutu Benchmark scores because the Antutu Benchmark was removed from the Windows Store, and there was no replacement. However, you will get the Antutu score in the Android segment. At this point I will skip and dive directly into the entertainment features of the Windows operating system, and can safely assure you that you can perform all the basic functions of a normal-size Windows computer, like use Microsoft Office applications, or protect your PC with any antivirus software of your choice. But before I get into that, I would like to show that the U300 can display resolutions of up to 4K 2160p. However, I could not achieve HDR Dolby Display or Dolby Digital Surround Audio, well, at least without some external sound card connected via USB. First, I will show that you can run Netflix from any browser, or from the app found on the Windows Store, and play Netflix movies in HD and 4K quality, as it is shown here in a movie description. Turning now to YouTube. YouTube can also play from any browser, or using the app on the Windows Store. The good thing about using YouTube on mini PCs like the U300 is that you can get up to 8K quality once you have the internet speed to support it. You can also install Kodi from the Windows Store and install all the latest third-party add-ons for unlimited streams of free movies and TV shows. I recently compressed my Kodi add-ons backup folder to a zip file because many subscribers were complaining that they could not download from the cloud storage. So that issue is now resolved and you can install the backup on the Windows version also. However, after the backup, you have to individually enable each add-on in the My Add-ons section. I will now play some 4K video samples.
executioners, judges.
This is the left channel. Next, we have the center channel. Over here is the right channel. This is the right surround channel.
Using the VLC player and installing the latest Windows Media Codec pack, the U300 was able to play all of my 4K video samples without issues, including the difficult Jellyfish video at 400 megabits per second bitrate and the Cambodia video that is encoded in Dolby Audio format. I will now play some Android games to test its 3D graphics performance.
Use the zoom slider to enter iron sight mode. Tap the thermal icon. Thermal view has a limited duration, so don't waste time.
The games ran okay, but keep in mind this is not a full-fledged gaming PC, only small games would play well on this device like most games from the Windows Store. So this brings to an end the Windows segment, and if you are interested in using it as a regular PC you can do so and apply it in many ways. But the U300 is capable of so much more, which brings me to my next segment of running a second independent operating system using the storage expansion bay. To access the bay, you simply pull on the wedge on the top cover like this and it pops right off. Then using the included SATA cable, the mounting screws, and a SATA hard drive or SSD, attach the drive to the cover and connect the cable to the board and drive. Once this is done you simply pop the cover back into place. I am using a 500 GB Western Digital SATA SSD for this demonstration, and if you are interested in getting this exact drive, I placed a link in the description area. To start this segment, I am running Android 9 Pie X86 as a second standalone operating system running totally on the SATA SSD, and in no way affecting the Windows installation that is on the M2 drive. This is so exciting, I call this segment U300 with a touch of bliss. The Android 9 X86 operating system is developed by Bliss Roms, one of the leading developers of Android X86 ROMs for Windows hardware. To install and configure Android X86 onto the SSD takes a couple of minutes, and for the sake of time I included a video tutorial on how to install and configure the BIOS on my website. I will also later upload the video to YouTube, so see the link in the description area for that. So I have already installed the Android 9 Bliss ROM onto the SSD and configured the BIOS to boot directly to the installation. As I boot up the operating system, you have the Bliss ROM animation for a couple of seconds. Then you are taken to the launcher. So here we are at the Bliss ROM launcher, and if I open the settings area, here you can see that I'm running Android 9 Pie X86. The launcher is based on the default Android layout, and it has all the nice features of the popular alternative launchers. You have a navigation bar and notifications bar. You have the drag and drop feature for adding and moving shortcuts, and you also have drag and drop for removing and uninstalling apps. The launcher also features the long click to access special app menu options, and you also have long click to access wallpapers and widgets. Let's quickly browse through its system information under this operating system. Under System, you have the manufacturer and the model, which is the U300. It's a 64-bit based environment running on 8 GB of RAM and 500 GB of internal storage. What is displayed here is the remainder of the 500 GB after the Android installation and apps installed. In order to achieve this size of storage, the SATA drive must be formatted in 4th Extended File System or ext4 format for short, which utilizes the entire size of the drive. You have Bluetooth 4+, but it's actually Bluetooth 4.2. Under CPU, the CPU clock range is set to 1.8 GHz, and you have support for 32 and 64-bit ABIs. Under Display, I am happy to see that under the Bliss ROM the screen resolution is displayed correctly as 2160p, 4K resolution, and it also displays the GPU clock and the GPU clock speed. The refresh rate at this resolution is only 30 Hz, and that's only because I set it so, to avoid extra large video size when capturing the screen, and it can go as high as 120 Hz. You have OpenGLES 3.2, which is great for gaming. You have dual-band Wi-Fi 5 GHz support. Here's the Android information. Thermals remain below 50 degrees Celsius during normal operation. And you have all the codecs needed for 4K video playback. And that's it for system and hardware information, and I will now do the same for its benchmarks. This is the root information, and it shows that the Bliss ROM is rooted, running on Android 9 operating system. The same warning applies here about updating the Superuser app. At the lock screen you will constantly see a notification to update the app. Just ignore it, as it will put the Bliss ROM into a boot loop and you would have to start over from scratch. So this is its DRM information, and it shows that the Bliss ROM has Google Widevine Level 3 and no HDCP protection. This means Netflix will only play in standard quality. One of the cool features of the Bliss ROM is that in the settings area, you have an array of options to customize every aspect of the ROM. From the navigation bar, to the status bar, to the widgets, even its animations and much more. So to benchmark the U300 under the Bliss ROM, I will start with the results of the RAM and internal storage read and write speeds. Under the Bliss ROM, the U300 has a RAM copy speed of 12,850 megabytes per second. The internal storage has a read speed of 254 megabytes per second and a write speed of 276. Under Windows, the RAM copy speed was 8,819, and that's a big difference. The Wi-Fi and Ethernet LAN speed test resulted in a similar performance, where the 5 GHz and the LAN port hit the maximum speed of my internet package. Whereas the 2.4 GHz band fell slightly below, but still managed to perform better than under Windows. In the Antutu Benchmark, I couldn't get the latest version to work on either Windows or the Bliss ROM, and the only version that seemed to work is version 6. So the Bliss ROM scored 119,993, and still the highest scoring Android TV box can't beat that. The Geekbench 4 CPU benchmark got a score of 2,283 single-core, and 3,943 multi-core. The Bliss ROM here again performing better than the Windows operating system, which scored 2068 single-core and 3352 multi-core. The final benchmark is the Ice Storm Extreme and the Slingshot Extreme GPU test. The Ice Storm Extreme maxed out on that benchmark, and the Slingshot Extreme scored 1975. So in the end, the Bliss ROM performs quite well, resulting in better scores than the Windows operating system. For my final demonstration I will skip the 4K video samples and play some Android games, only to say that the Bliss ROM did not come with an optimized media player like in regular TV boxes, and most of the popular media players has some real difficulty playing 4K videos at 60 frames per second.
Come on! You might need that.
James, are you there?
Hey, darling. Let's get you inside now.
We just pulled into Dad's. We'll be here for now. But don't be long.
That's great. Hey, could you put Maggie on?
Running Android X86 is still a work in progress as there are many games that are unable to play, and some of them crash during gameplay. So there's still a lot of work to be done when it comes to stability. In summary, the Bliss ROM is the first Android 9 Pie X86 operating system for running Android on Windows hardware. I'm not sure how many other mini PCs can run in this configuration, but I guarantee that the Minisforum U300 does a great job as a Windows PC and as an Android TV box under Bliss ROM Android X86. I will continue to bring more of these mini PCs as they become available, and hopefully by then, more versions of Android 9 X86 will be available. So if you are into mini PCs and would like to get your hands on the U300, links were placed in the description area to the only place you can find it online. Thanks for watching, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel to be notified when I release the next great TV box or mini PC review. Keep streaming, and see you in the next one.